I was just going to say, you can bring me up to date on what I'm doing.
Sure. Me too.
It's been kind of a black cloud, not black, but black hole. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm talking to all these people. I'm giving them all this. What is it for?
So I'm a psychologist by training, and I do research and I do private practice, right?
Okay.
So the research, I'm particularly interested in healthcare. So research companies will hire me to do like investigative research.
Okay.
And the reason for this in particular is that really is not a lot known about the psychology of kidney transplants.
Okay.
And so we do, you don't mind if I take the interview?
No.
Not a lot is known, so, and we want to see kind of like how it affects your life and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So we'll go out and talk to you. We did the interview, then we have you do that mobile task, then we'll take a look out here, and then, take a drive to your gym or whatever with you, or wherever, a place like that. Just to get a feel for how your life is.
Okay.
And I think the ultimate goal is for to have materials and an understanding. That's this, I think that's the ultimate feature of it.
Yep. Now, do you have ID or anything, like card or anything?
Yes, I have my license.
And you work from at a hospital?
No, I work from my house.
Oh, okay.
And I have an office. Let me see if I bring my card. I can send you a card.
Oh, that's okay.
So I'm in private practice.
Okay.
And where I live is in Valatia, New York, which is outside of Albany.
Okay.
And then I have an office in Latham, New York, which is
okay.
Super close to Albany.
Yep.
And that's what, so that's kind of what I do.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about your review again, your history with the kidney issues.
Oh, I diagnosed when I was 2 weeks after I turned 30.
Uh-huh.
So everybody warned me about turning 30, and I didn't believe them. But it was I was having real muscle aches putting together my kids' Christmas toys, and in December time frame, and little fatigue, some muscle aches. I was screwdriving something in, and my muscles were just aching and really hurt. I also had a lymph node in my neck that was swollen, very large, not huge, but large enough to notice.
Sure.
Went to the doctor. I went to a local doctor who told me I had melanoma without any testing.
Right.
So I was like, okay, this isn't working.
Right.
So he wanted to do a bone biopsy, all kinds of stuff, and I was like, all right. So my wife had connections in the city because her father had grown up with esophageal cancer and all kinds of stuff. So we contacted a very good friend of theirs who's a nurse over at Columbia and said, none of this sounds right. Can you hook us up with somebody? So I went over. I met with a surgeon. He proceeded to take the node out. Turned out to be nothing. It was adhesions from strep. So it was not a big deal. But I did have a lot of protein in my urine. So he turned me over to a nephrologist. Actually, first was a guy that actually went to work with the CDC, for the CDC. And then he turned me over to my nephrologist. And in the first week of February, I went in and did a biopsy, and it turned out I had IgA nephropathy. Prognosis was fine. I mean, my creatinine level was about 2.5, and I'm rounding a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know the exact numbers. So I had lost about 25% of my function. And she said I would probably need a transplant within 10 years. Gave me some things to do. She put me on some meds, Lipitor and Prinavil at the time. I was a lot lighter and younger, so I was able to, I was working out.
Yeah.
I was running 5Ks. I was working at the gym every morning. So I was doing all that stuff, and she obviously encouraged me to continue that. And we just waited. I mean, I just sat back and said, I came home. Actually, my wife was with me. And we drove home
from
Columbia.
Yeah.
And we just said, what are we going to do? And I said, we're not going to do anything.
Right.
It's 10 years. Who knows? It could be 20.
Right.
And I said, who knows? They may come out with a pill for IgA nephropathy in 5 years and it'd wipe it out. So we really didn't focus on it that much. I mean, as long as I stayed in shape and I took my meds, I felt that I was doing everything I could to hold it off, and we'll go about our life. So we didn't tell anybody.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah, we didn't tell our kids. We didn't tell. Well, I had one at the time. I had one on the way.
And you have 2 kids?
I have 4.
4 altogether.
Yeah, so we've had 3 since. We didn't tell my family. We didn't tell anybody. Now, my family knew. My wife is a very gregarious person, so she has a hard time keeping secrets. So, she would let them know if I was in the city with the nephrologist. They knew I had something going on with the kidney. They didn't know what. And they obviously didn't know about the transplant. So we just went about our life, and we had 3 more kids. We moved here from just down the road, in another town, Fairlawn. And I didn't focus on it. I went to the doctor twice a year, every 6 months, and she took my bloods, and we charted the progression.
You and your wife, or you and
my wife and the doctor?
Wife and the doctor,
yeah. And she would let me know what level when the kidney disease got to. I would need.
Did she stage it for you, or
not really? Just well, I guess she probably did in a sense. I didn't see the charts, but she would say, "Okay, you're now at 3.0 or something."
Right.
And then when you get to 10, that's the time.
And did you think about it in between, or you just went about
just went about my business?
Which is really, like if I look at the people I've interviewed, you just.
I'm the outlier?
Well, not the outlier, but you just go about living your life.
We did, and that's what we decided.
Is that how you are in general? Just like,
yes.
Yeah.
I looked at it as a hurdle, not a mountain.
Yeah.
I looked at it as, if I looked at it as a mountain, it was a small one. We'll get over it. I had, one of the things that I think I benefited from was the first doctor that I saw with the melanoma diagnosis. It was a big relief. That I didn't have melanoma.
Right. Yes.
So I was like, oh, kidney disease, I'm fine.
Right.
It's not going to kill me.
Right.
It may make me, go through a bunch of stuff, but it's not going to kill me.
Sure.
So that was, in a sense, helped, I think.
Yes.
So, we went around our life. We had 3 more kids. Like I said, we moved to this house. My wife continued to work. She was a flight attendant. I continued to work. I was a finance director over at Becton Dickinson, a medical device company. And we just kept going.
Right.
18 years later is when I had the transplant.
Yeah.
So we were able to extend it 8 years through diet, exercise, other things.
What other things?
I don't know. I mean, I think, I really believe not focusing on
attitude,
it
I
helped.
think, right? Yeah.
And quite honestly, I didn't really look forward to asking my family for a kidney, so I'm wondering if that even helped.
Right.
It's like, all right, I have to hold this off, so we got to be good.
I think lifestyle played a big deal, right?
It definitely did.
I think if I look among the people I've interviewed so far, your lifestyle and dedication to that lifestyle really made a difference.
Oh, definitely. And my wife, we had changed, so you can see the cookbooks. I've got the low cholesterol cookbook, and I've got the low, those kinds of things. Yeah, there's a couple in there. In fact, I might have given them out. But we try. We're not great at it. We do it in spurts.
Right.
And then we get tired and we want to eat what we like.
Yes.
But we try. So lifestyle. Well,
you partnered with your wife. That's another key.
We did. The biggest thing for me was I wanted to coach my kids. I wanted to see them grow up, and I was very active. I had a lot of diversions, distractions, if you will.
Sure.
I coached all 4 of my kids in football, baseball, soccer, basketball. I mean, it didn't matter what was going on. I stayed active that way.
Had you played ball growing up?
I did. Yeah, I played football and baseball growing up. We're a big sports family. I often use sports metaphors to help me get through things. That everything is temporary. Things like that.
What other kind of sports metaphors? Like, don't get too high from a...
when things are going good, you're not that good. When things are going bad, you're not that bad.
Yeah.
All right, we lost the game today, we'll play tomorrow. Yeah. Things like that. I tend to look at everything as temporary in my life, except for, obviously, death. I mean, that's going to be permanent. But
Until that point.
exactly,
Yeah.
you know. So